So this evening we are going to be putting around some Grub-X around our bees because it will dramatically help stop the beetle problem in the small hive beetle, which goes into your beehives and creates a mess. And if it gets too bad, your bees will leave because it cannot handle it. It gets slime stuff all over the inside, it gets into your honey. It's a mess. So the reason this will help, because last year we got beetle traps and we got the beetles out that way, and my husband, and we would kill them as we would find them. That was last year. This year we're going to try to be preventative instead of having to do that throughout the year. So this stuff down here is called Grub-X. It's an insecticide. Now normally we don't use insecticides on our farm. We don't like chemicals. I don't like them. But this is a little bit different because it's going to help our bees and it's not going to affect anybody else or anything else. And what happens is you sprinkle it around the dirt, around the hives, a good amount of area around here, because when those larvae of the beetle come out, they're going to crawl around. They could crawl out for a good amount of time before they pupate into the beetle. So this is the life cycle of the beetle. In the hive is laid an egg. From the egg, it hatches into a larva. It stays 1 or 2 weeks in your hive, and that's when it's going to create all that slime and all the mess. And then it crawls out from the hive. Little white worms is what they are, little white worms. Crawl out, crawl around into the dirt, find an area that they want to go to, and then they pupate into the small hive beetle, and then that beetle eventually will go back into the hive to lay more eggs, right? So that's why we're going to stop them from when they crawl out, then it kills them, and then they're not going to turn into the beetles, and then eventually you're not going to have the beetles crawling back into the hive to lay the eggs. So it's a process, but it's a preventative process. So, and the reason this doesn't kill the bees is because it's going to soak into the dirt and on the ground. And right now at this point of the year, early spring, the bees are not going to be on the dirt. There's no food for them down there. So, of course, if you did this in the summer, there's going to be food on the ground, so that would not be a good idea. Don't do this in the summer. So, here we go. We're going to sprinkle it around, like I said, and that's what we're going to do. So first I'm going to do it around the hives, and then I'll spread out. And we're going to be expanding our splitting our hives this year. So we are going to, one of them is going to go on that end, but then we're going to come down the line. So that's why we're going to be spreading this all over this area to not let any beetles be around. Okay. So, and then also about the beetle, once they're actually beetles, right? They can fly a long ways. They can fly a long distance, shall we say. So, like, if you had somebody who had other honeybees that was close to you, and they had a small hive beetle problem, well, guess what? Those beetles are probably going to fly to your honeybee hive and, start going in there. So, that's another reason, if you can be preventative for yours, then it doesn't matter about other people's because it won't affect them, right? Because our hives is not going to have very much hive beetles, so then if that was to happen, you know what, they're going to be able to take care of it. Because the bees will kill them and take care of them if it's in a small ratio. So this is just going to be helpful to them. And anything you can do to help your honeybees is a good idea, right? Because they're giving you honey, you have to take care of them. Okay, so I just finished spreading it all over. We used the whole bag, figured might as well, because it stays good for the whole season. So now next early spring, we'll do the same thing, but it's going to be good for the whole season this year, which is going to be wonderful. And so I'm throwing away the bucket though that I had that in, and I wore gloves, so you should definitely wear gloves if you don't have a spreader to spread that with, and wash your hands when you're done. I took my gloves off, so I will go wash my hands. And then throwing the bag, the gloves, and the bucket away, because you don't want that touching anything else on your farm or your house. So so this will help our bees this year. We're happy, and the bees will be happy too. Thanks. Bye.